Over 70 persons receiving treatment for burns after an explosion at secondary Tapado.
Stakeholders call for speedy passage of affirmative action bill.
16 years after May 9 Accra Sports Stadium disaster. Hello, good evening. You're most welcome to the News Hour live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. My name is Michelin Taka.
And my name is Akpene Avo Ajaja. Thank you so much for joining us for the news. Clement Sam is also here. He's our signer for today. In the details, Ghana ranks 150th out of 190 countries with the lowest representation of women in the legislature and in other arms of government.
In Parliament, for example, there are only 36 women out of the 275 seats, while the current list of nominations for the district chief executive has about 34 women out of 212 nominees. This was the focus of a meeting on affirmative action in Accra.
The fight for women emancipation dates back to hundreds of years ago when women's voices were made strong, calling for gender parity on all levels in the country. Apart from Yasantua, Ghana can boast of high-level intellectual women amongst the world's best, including the late Justice Annie Giage, women's rights activist who drafted the Declaration on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women and co-founder of Women World Bank. Dr. Esther Oklu and Madame Ekwia Kwenyehia, a lawyer who served as a judge of the ICC, doubling as its first vice president. In 1998, the affirmative policy guidelines was formulated, and in 2011, the first roundtable discussions were held.
Women's rights is not something that should be a controversy. It should come naturally, for it is essential to our very development as a people. And it's one reason why I'm glad this is happening today. I will want to advise that let this bill be just a guide to further action, because there is still much to be desired which is not in it.
Although some results have been achieved throughout the gender struggle, these gains have been eroded over time due to the lack of proper measures.
It has become necessary to go beyond the rhetoric, go beyond the talk, go beyond the prejudices and cliches, and acknowledge that with the existing gender inequality in the public and private sphere, there is the need to take drastic measures to correct this imbalance, because gender stereotyping, which dates back to antiquity, cannot be changed without implementable legislation.
Former First Lady Nana Konadu Rawlings participated in the famous Beijing World Conference in 1995, which sought to drum home the need for women to be recognized as equal powerhouses to men.
This country is going nowhere until women get their rightful places. It's not going anywhere. You take 2 steps ahead of us, we'll pull you back 4 steps. We look after the children, we look after the water bodies, we look after the environment, we look after the food you eat. So all those things will come together to make the country, you know, the first level country that we want to be. But if we leave the women behind, trust me, it's not going to help this country. And as I keep saying, politics and policies have nothing to do with growing of beards, so we can do it.
The Affirmative Action Bill has over the years seen adjustments and has been laid before Parliament, but is yet to receive the needed attention. Women activists say, although the fight for gender equality looks far from reach, they hoped that when it's eventually passed into law, it will facilitate the climbing of the women onto the political, economic and social ladder. An Accra High Court has remanded into prison custody the Chinese woman dealing in Galamsey. mining and allegedly blackmailing powerful Ghanaian politicians and security officers with sex videos and audios she recorded. L1, popularly called Aisha, and her 4 Chinese accomplices arrested for engaging in galamsey activities are expected to reappear on the 23rd of May 2017. Earlier, we spoke to the public relations officer of the Ghana Immigration Service, Mr. Francis Pamdeti.
Mr. Pamdeti, so how long has Aisha been in the country?
The record of her first entry was in 2006, where she came in as a visitor. But in 2007, she got married to a Ghanaian in China and had visited the country a few times before in 2010 she obtained a residence permit and has been on residence permit till 2015 when we granted her an indefinite residence status. We had them in our custody prior to today's court hearing, and as you are well aware, we arrested them in Ashanti region and brought them to Accra for further investigations into their activities. I mean, these are individuals we had arrested engaging in galamsey or small-scale mining activities, which is against the law. They claimed they were doing that under the request of the famous Chinese woman, which is also popularly known as Aisha, but she's N1. That's her name.
N1.
Yes, and so we arrested them, brought them to Accra for further interrogation. But you know, we didn't want to flout the constitutional provision of holding a person beyond 48 hours. So we sent them to court today to seek the court's permission to hold on with them for further investigations, and the court granted us the remand.
What role is the Ghana Immigration Service playing to stop this menace?
The Ghana Immigration Service,
I'm asking this based on the concept that we have foreigners, the Chinese, engage in this activity.
Yes, not only Chinese, we have other African nationals also engaging in galamsey. So this is not to say that we are focusing on just some particular nationality. I believe the menace that this activity causes doesn't recognize who is spilling filth into the river bodies. Ghanaians are well in it, Chinese are also well in it, other nationals are also well in it. But with the Immigration Service, our mandate is clearly cut out for us in terms of our law. And it says that we should regulate the entry and exit, residence and employment, and removal of foreign nationals in our country. That's our mandate. And so when we find foreigners engaging in activities that are against the law, we have interest in that. And with the occurrence of foreigners engaging in small-scale mining, coupled with the very latest directive for such activities to be put on hold, we are also equally interested. A task force has been set up, and we are part of that task force. Obviously, because when the foreign component emerges, we will have to deal with it, whereas the police and other agencies will deal with locals who are found operating in that sector. In this particular case of the 4, we were alerted by a patriotic citizen that he had seen some Chinese nationals engaging in galamsey even after the directive had been issued. And so our men in Obuasi went there and arrested them. So for us, it's important that citizens cooperate with not just us, but other security agencies. On our own, we cannot achieve our mandate of securing the country. We will need patriotic citizens like that young man who alerted us.
So that was an earlier interview recorded. Moving on, we go to Takoradi, where over 70 people who were affected by the gas explosion at the Sekondi Takoradi Highway are currently receiving treatment at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital in the Western Region. Fire this morning destroyed property and injured many at Gamco, an aluminium manufacturing company off the main Sekondi Takoradi Road, affecting the nearby entities including the Total filling station and Olam warehouse.
The gas explosion started at exactly 7 a.m. at Gamco, a defunct Chinese company which manufactures cooking utensils. According to eyewitnesses, the explosion occurred when a gas tanker was discharging gas for the company. The fire destroyed the Olam company warehouse. The fire also spread to the Metro Mass Transit Yard where some workers got burnt. A policeman was also injured. For more than 30 minutes, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service tried to control the fire and prevent it from spreading. The injured were rushed to the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital for treatment. 14 fire officers who also got burnt in their line of duty were also rushed to the hospital. The medical director at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital, Dr. K. Anthony, said the hospital has not recorded any deaths, but some of the victims are in critical condition.
60 when you watch the show now, bien do one sound one come into extras and we extend the fractures. But say the Obian fam, one are buying now fam. But you are meant to mention the same Bian at the hospital, set up at the hospital, and I said, if you are Gapoha, but say the Obian fam.
It's all news are live on GBC24. In some more stories, chiefs and staff of traditional councils, regional and national House of Chiefs are undergoing a capacity building workshop. The training is designed to enhance the leadership skills of the chiefs to be able to move their communities forward.
The 5-day event is being organized by the GBC24 Traditional Leadership Center, OCTL, in conjunction with the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA. The traditional authorities will be schooled on a number of topics, including fighting the Galamsey menace, the new chieftaincy law which guarantees the arbitration powers and customary rules of chiefs, as well as some principles of good governance. A retired justice at the Supreme Court, Justice Stephen Alan Broby, said it is important for chiefs to be abreast of the changing trends in society to enable them rule properly. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, UPSA, Professor Abednego Amati, urged them to take advantage of the tuition-free program introduced by the university.
UPSA will offer free tuition for professional programs for all undergraduate and graduate students during the next academic year. We will encourage all of you to take advantage of this offer by enrolling on our undergraduate and postgraduate programs and encouraging others to do so.
The director of the GBC24 Center for Traditional Leadership, OCTL, Laporua MND Jawula, is optimistic the training will positively affect the chiefs in diverse ways. The Omaihini of the Sikado traditional area, Nana Kobinan Ketia, urged the traditional authorities to ensure there is accountability and inclusiveness in the governance of their respective traditional areas.
Without you, I wonder where Ghana would be today. Therein lies your power. But sometimes you've taken a back row, which is good. You have the Achamefo speaking on your behalf. But sometimes you need to let the light of the indigenous institutions exhibit the direction that we must take. Because without our value system, without our culture, we will never be a people.
Since its establishment, OCTL has organized a number of capacity building workshops on various topics, namely land administration, strategic management, documentation and records management, and conflict management. The workshop will end on Friday, the 12th of May.
You're watching News Are Live on GBC24 and GTV. Time to take a breather. We'll be back shortly with some more stories. Do stay with us.
Welcome back to the business segment. Thanks for staying on. Now, government says it will soon roll out a program aimed at supporting ailing industries in the country with logistics and funds to become competitive again. This was announced by a Deputy Minister for Trade and Industries, Mr. Carlos Ahinkra, when he visited Eden Tree, a company based at Tema that deals in vegetables for the local and foreign markets. Between 2015 and 2016,
The country suffered energy crisis that threw a lot of businesses into disarray, causing some to fold up, while others cut down on production. According to the Ghana Association of Industries, AGI, the Industrial Workers Union, ICU, and the Trade Union Congress, some 5,000 workers lost their jobs in various sectors due to the energy crisis. In order to revive the industries and get employers back to their jobs, the Ministry of Trade and Industry says it is coming up with an industrial revitalization program to get factories that have suffered under the energy crisis bounce back and employ more people. The Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Kingsley Ahinkra, told journalists that considering a more stable power situation in the country today, it is prudent to encourage industries to operate at full capacity.
At this juncture, we are looking at an industrial revitalization program, which is to do with companies that have suffered some kind of shocks in terms of the doomso era and so many things. Some companies are going down. This government wants to bring them up and let them start working again so that they can pick our boys and girls from off the street.
Managers of the fruit processing factory where the Deputy Minister visited say the capacity of their production plant is 10 tons, yet farmers are unable to produce enough raw material to meet their demands.
Our problem is that we are producing below par. So we want to use this medium to encourage the young people on the streets. They haven't got jobs to do. Everybody's rushing to Accra. We're looking at a certain situation where you finish school in, let's say, Mampo. You will help you set up a farm. You don't need to come to Accra and come and walk the streets of Accra.
The Trade and Industry Ministry say although new factories will be rolled out under the One District, One Factory, ailing factories must also be supported.
The Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Mr. Samson Awengobit, has commended government for initiating the national single window aimed at harmonizing and standardizing trade procedures at the port. He noted that the implementation of the program has cut down the cost and time associated with clearing goods at the country's ports.
Prior to the implementation of the national single window, importers had to go through 23 different institutions in a bid to clear their goods at the ports. The single window project, initiated on September 1, 2015, provides a one-stop point where importers clear their goods with reduced stress. Even before the program runs full cycle, implementers say the progress has been encouraging.
Single window, in fact, is a key tool for implementing the WTO agreement, as it has a major impact on simplifying trade procedures and facilitating border agency coordination. It is also a key tool for addressing the information access requirements of the agreement.
The national single window is one of the 36 components of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement ratified by Ghana. Speaking at a National Single Window Conference in Accra, the Deputy Director General of the WTO, UNOF Frederick Agar, commended government for a commitment towards trade facilitation.
Full implementation of the agreement could be a challenge for some members. The single window in particular is one of the more difficult provisions to implement. Therefore, just as the WTO members all worked together to create this agreement, we must work together to see it through to full implementation.
The Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Chomantin, noted that prior to the ratification of the WTO Trade Facilitation Program, Ghana was already in the process of improving trade in the country.
The first requirement for us as a government is to be able to invest in the kind of infrastructure that allows trade to flow freely. And I think most of you are aware of the commitment of this government and previous governments to making sure that we make the right investments in infrastructure.
Apart from facilitating the clearance of goods within a shorter time frame, the single window project has also led to a surge in revenue generation at the country's entry ports.
The cedi stabilized against the pound sterling and the US dollar and depreciated by 3 pesos against the euro. On the interbank markets, the pound is selling at 5 cedis 43 pesos, the US dollar at 4 cedis 19 pesos, and the euro is also trading at 4 cedis 59 pesos. Up next is the board. We go to the commodities market where light crude is trading at $46.49 per barrel and cocoa at $1,955 per ton. Gold is also going for $1,224.10 an ounce. Segment was brought to you by kindness of Ernest Chemist and NIB Bank.
Welcome back to the news, and this is the health segment brought to you by FPAC. The prevalence of HIV from mother to child transmission was twice doubled in 2016. Figures from the National AIDS Control Program show a 30% increase compared with the previous figures of 10%. The Volta and Bono-Ahafo regions are also leading the HIV and AIDS prevalence chart with 2.7%. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, said the service will initiate innovative ways to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of the virus.
The annual HIV and AIDS surveillance is done to aid policymakers generate effective strategies and interventions to curb the prevalence of the disease. The 2016 surveillance was conducted on pregnant women and unlinked anonymous individuals across the various health facilities in the country. The assessment revealed that the prevalence of HIV and AIDS is fluctuating at a rate of 2.4%, which also shows that the disease is at its peak. The Volta and Bono-Ahafo regions were recorded as the regions with the highest prevalent rate of 2.7%, with the northern region recording the lowest rate of 0.7%.
The 2016 results shows that prevalence was lowest in the northern region with 0.7, followed by Upper East with 1.7, followed by Central region with 1.8, followed by Greater Accra, which was leading last year with 2.4, and then Upper West and Western region were 2.5, Ashanti region and Eastern region. In 2016, the regions with the highest prevalence were 2, Bono-Ahafo and Volta region.
According to the study, the prevalence of HIV and AIDS is common among females than in males. The report also shows that 38% of women and 49% of men aged 15 to 49 are living with the disease without knowing. Women in the urban centers also recorded the highest rate as compared to those in the rural areas. The surveillance also revealed that there has been a double increment of transmission from mother to child compared to the 10 to 30% recorded previously. The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsaya-Sari, said the service will introduce interventions to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of the virus.
We have to try as much as possible to integrate and put HIV/AIDS into the mainstream of healthcare delivery. If you look at prevention of mother-to-child transmission, we are not doing well. Because I've always been saying that if I'm a pregnant woman and I come to an antenatal clinic, I'm tested and I'm positive, and you ask me to go to ART clinic to go and collect medicines, I won't go. Because there's a stigma. Everybody knows that this pregnant woman has HIV/AIDS. But I believe that we should try and integrate all these services into our antenatal clinics. So as it goes to antenatal clinic, the person is tested, is positive, somebody is there trying to counsel the patient and then give you the right treatment.
A Deputy Minister for Health, Madam Tina Mensah, says government will work to reduce the spread of HIV and AIDS by 2030.
Being one of the 35 UN/AIDS fast-track countries, there is a tremendous expectation of Ghana to demonstrate leadership in the global effort to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. This must challenge us all to renew our passion and effort to reduce new HIV infections in all age groups and populations.
The Ghana Health Service therefore plans to introduce extra curriculum activities in schools to educate students on the use of condoms, since the disease is more prevalent among people between the ages of 19 to 49.
Also in health, a Deputy Minister of Health, Madam Tina Mensah, has assured the 2015 graduates of Allied Health and Sciences that they will be absorbed into the public sector. This follows yesterday's picketing at the premises of the Ministry of Health.
Yesterday there were two groups that were there, the Allied nursing and then the private, accredited private nursing. And then I think I spoke with them. With the Allied, we have a bonding with them that after they finish school, we'll find out, we'll place them. So I was able to talk to them. Concerning the private, there wasn't any such bond. It is clear. But you know, during those days that we were in short of both nurses and doctors, when they finished, we were able to absorb some of them into the system because we needed more. It has come to a stage that the product, I always equate it to supply and demand. Now, we have not even found ourselves in placing all the bonded ones. So how can we look at the private one? We have to finish, because the difference between the bonded and the private is that the bonded, they cannot find any job after they are finished because they have been bonded. Whenever they go and look for a job, they will ask them because they have a bond with them. But the private, they can always move anywhere to get a job with them. So if anything, we have to finish with our bonded ones before the private one comes.
Let's move to the Ashanti region now, where patients seeking treatment at the Kwaman Health Center at the Secretariat South District risk being misdiagnosed because the facility does not have a laboratory technician.
The Kwamai Health Center was built in the early 1970s to provide the primary health care needs of residents of Kwamai and its surrounding communities. Despite the ever-increasing population of the beneficiary communities, the health center has not seen any improvement in its capacity in terms of physical infrastructure. The Asante Mampong Government Hospital, which is about 15 kilometers away, is the first referral health care facility for the health center. However, there is no standby ambulance to move patients quickly for medical attention elsewhere during emergency cases. Until recently, when Kwamai citizens abroad and home contributed to build an additional block, the previous structure had space for just 4 beds in the health center. The block comprises laboratory and theaters, which have been converted into children and female wards due to the unavailability of the relevant operating equipment and logistics. The few that were donated by philanthropists are not usable. Even though the health center, which has a physician assistant in charge, has a laboratory, it is not functional because there is no laboratory technician to man it. The staff therefore uses the malaria kits to test whether or not a patient has malaria. At times, the healthcare providers depend on their experience and guesswork to diagnose medical conditions. The practice is unprofessional and goes contrary to medical ethics. Nanatechi Abim, the development chief of Kwamine and coordinator of Kwamine Citizens Abroad, has been soliciting support for development of the town, including extension of the Kwamine Health Center. He thinks succeeding governments have not treated the community very well in the sharing of the national cake. Nanatechi Abim is now appealing to government through the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service to come to the aid of the Kwamine Health Center. He said a boost to the Kwamine Health Facility would enable it to meet the healthcare needs of the people.
This is Srabai. Say Juma Yedi and Sansa Suntin Ombra. Also, my boy, if you say Kwamama, so you can't go near my Koswa, Yan, come to me, say, and Kayabajuma, and also Yan, a dream maybe a Yahoo dancer, and Nanado and penny for MPP by Ombra, no my boy. Said the Bayer, yes, was a bit in your baby and I see. A mamano, I already saw no more, and my Bayer Jumano, and he hereby said, oh, my resources, but the resources no bar, Jane, yet Yahoo, de near Yansa, a Bayer, the Bayer here for about the Boma expert account, no other tea and baby, I am fed Jumanfa.
And that's it for the health segment of the news, brought to you by kindness of FPAC. We'll be back shortly. Do stay with us.
Hello, good evening. Let's talk sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. The Ministry of Youth this morning showed respect for victims of the May 9th Accra Stadium disaster. Today marks the 16th anniversary of the disaster that claimed the lives of 127 football fans at the Accra Sports Stadium. Disaster described as the worst in the history of African football occurred as a result of a stampede at the Accra Sports Stadium when police fired volleys of tear gas into the stands to control crowd violence in the aftermath of a league match between Accra Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko on May 9, 2001. The disturbances occurred after Hearts scored 2 late goals to defeat Kotoko 2-1. Here in Accra, the Ministry of Youth and Sports organized a wreath-laying ceremony at the Accra Sports Stadium. Representatives of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, led by the Sector Minister, Mr. Isaac Isiama, and his deputy, officials from the Ghana Football Association, Accra Hearts of Oak, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, plus the families of the bereaved, laid wreath in memory of the victims. A symposium was organized for supporters to discuss issues of safety. It was led by Dr. Prince Pambo. Some of the deceased children who are beneficiaries of the Stadium Disaster Trust Fund were introduced. The Youth and Sports Minister, Mr. Isaac Isiama, said he was happy at the way the Board of Trustees have executed their mandate.
We are going to have annually a program of them, interactive with them. Their children want to hear from them, their side of the story. So we are going to do that, so that if there are others that have been attended to or catered for, they can come for it. So far, as Minister for Youth and Sports on my desk, I don't have any such complaint on my desk. It doesn't mean there will not be any other complaints. But others are hoping, if there are others, they should let us know.
A former Chief Executive Officer of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Mr. Herbert Mensah, has called on Ghanaians to bring a positive message of responsibility to sports administrators, fans, and the youth.
Don't forget, it was in this stadium. The weather was exactly like this. It was raining that night when I was called. Running across to the stand over there, that very stand, to have people dying, suffocating, tear gas, going crazy, carrying bodies to try and get them out. And the first call I made was to Otumfuo that night. And Otumfuo said to me that night, Herbert, be strong, people will need you. When Komla Domo came for me and said, look, your work is not done, let's go to 37. And we saw the 96 bodies lying on the ground, dead. Again, I called Otumfuo. I was crying and I was full of rage because I didn't think this needed to happen. My chest was heaving. Again, he said to me, just calm down. So this is the first time that we have had a leader in 16 years recognize the families. We need to be proud as a Ghanaian. Hillsborough cannot be celebrating their own, and then we then forget about our own. High Shell cannot be celebrating their own, and then we then think that our heroes are not important. Our heroes are also human beings. They're as important as the next person. When you travel the world, you see that when there is a world war, after the World War, every end of World War celebration yearly, Armistice Day, other days, people have a minute's silence for their fallen heroes. 126 people dying at a stadium unnecessarily. Unnecessarily. Those were the heroes. How many families were displaced? How many children could not be looked after? We cannot simply walk away and forget. Not as Ghanaians.
The Sports Writers Association of Ghana SWAG will organize its 42nd Awards Gala on Saturday, May 27 at the State Banquet Hall. Ahead of the ceremony, Activa International Insurance has presented a check for 30,000 Ghana cedis.
Activa International Insurance, one of the longest sponsors of the SWAG Awards, on Tuesday, May 9th, announced a sponsorship package worth 30,000 Ghana cedis for the event. It marks the 5th year of their relationship with the association in the organization of the prestigious event after joining the partnership in 2002.
Insurance is a mechanism by which people or organizations can get security against unforeseen circumstances capable of yielding disastrous consequences like the May 9 disaster. So today, we do not only mark the anniversary of May 9 with a cash donation to SWAG, but also an offer of advice to the sporting fraternity, lovers of sports, and the general Ghanaian public. That, 1, surviving spouses and dependents of the deceased could have received lump sum payments if they had bought life or accident insurance products. The education of the children of the deceased would have been taken care of by their insurance policies. Today, however, we have only gathered here to show our appreciation to our sportsmen and women who have soared in their various fields of endeavor to make our nation proud. Please accept our offer of 30,000 Ghana cedis towards the organization of the 2017 SWAG Awards ceremony.
As part of the tradition, we have always ensured an improvement of the event year after year, and we seek to introduce this year to give award winners an attractive prize package that would inspire them to continue with their exploits, both on the local and international scene, having secured sponsorship in that direction.
The 42nd SWAG Awards will see 30 individuals and institutions being decorated on the night for their outstanding performance in the year 2016. The SWAG Awards remains the longest running sports event in Ghana, having been in existence in 41 years.
Let's go to Spain and talk tennis, where Maria Sharapova lost to one of her greatest critics. That's all for sports.
Welcome back to the news, and this is the Arts and Entertainment segment brought to you by Cowbell. Nana Ama-Konadu has been officially outdoored as the 14th Asantehima at the Mensah Palace in Kumasi. Her stool name is Nana Konadu Yadom, and she succeeds her biological mother, the late Nana Ifwa Kobisewa Ampem.
In the custom of Asantemai, it is the sole prerogative of the Asantehene to select the Asantehima whenever the seat becomes vacant. The Asantehene Otumfuo Seijitu therefore selected his eldest biological sister, then known in private life as Nana Ama-Konadu, as the successor of his late mother and 13th Asantehima, Nana Efia Kobisewa Ampem. The selection of the new Asantehima was a welcome news by all within the Asantemai circle. However, her formal outdooring had been delayed until last Saturday, when for the first time after being selected, she performed her first official function. Nana Konadu Yadom's outdooring coincided with the 67th birthday of Otumfuo Seijitu. During the outdooring ceremony held at the Mensah Palace, a refurbished ceremonial ground now christened the Fia Kobi Sewa Ampe Memorial Park, was dedicated and inaugurated. The Memorial Park is in the memory of the late biological mother of the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool, Nana Efua Kobi Sewa Ampe, who passed away on November 14, 2016. The park has an artificial turf decorated with a portrait of the Santihene sitting in state on the Golden Stool, as well as a display of Edinkra symbols, to be the venue for some of the official functions of the Santihene and the Santimai Council. Otunfosetutu took advantage of the event to eulogize his late mother and 13th Asantehema. Also at the event were dignitaries such as the Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Simon Osei Mensah, his deputy, Madame Elizabeth Ajimai, KMA Chief Executive, Mr. Osei Sibe Entry, Queen Mothers from Ashanti and other regions, and a host of clergymen. Otunfosetutu again used the platform to explain for the first time why he chose his eldest sister as the new Asantehema. According to him, it is in line with Asante tradition to consider the eldest daughter of a deceased Asantehema as the first option in choosing a successor for a vacant stool.
And yes, I or no near my body, and name one equine so I'm a dear man. Asante, Yanni Amani, and it's a penny di pa man, no more din will be beyond a dear man. Ebun konta na akosi ono nso nei na mebo ni din ache friend kradu yard motor so miensa de yes abrewa ne so ono nso na si na emu no obefa ni nyansa ne don ne bibia bi no nso de ato adwuma no so amae.
The art segment, Rapper Manifest will represent Africa at the 2017 Media Martyrs Accelerator MMA, an international career booster for emerging musical talents. The 2017 Ghana Music Awards Best Rapper earned the nod through a fiercely contested balloting and public voting. And that's it for the art and entertainment segment of the news, brought to you by kindness of Cowbell. It's still news are live on GBC24 and GTV. Let's take a local story now. The Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Kwame Akufo-Addo, says the vast experience and knowledge of veteran broadcasters must be put to good use to enhance GBC's image. Dr. Kwame Akufo-Addo said GBC will work with the past heroes in order to improve upon content of the public broadcaster.
Ghana Association of Past Broadcasters is a platform where all past staff of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation meet to deliberate on their welfare and suggest ways to enable GBC to maintain high standards in the media. The Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the association, Mr. J.S. Coleman, welcomed the new Director General of GBC and congratulated him on his appointment.
We congratulate you, Dr. Kwame Akufo-Addo, on your appointment as Director General and the fair gentleman of the House. We are delighted that you are a member of the Board of Governors of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah African Genius Award. In conclusion, we wish you well and assure you that we are with you in spirit and will always pray for you to succeed in steering the affairs of the corporation.
A former Director General of the corporation and the current National President of the Ghana Association of Past Broadcasters, David Anaglati, said members of the association are ready to offer the necessary support to management and the entire staff of GBC to improve upon content. He advised upcoming broadcasters to make research a daily routine for efficient delivery.
Let our people improve deliverance on the radio and TV. Let them do a little more research.
A former broadcaster, Mr. Robert Owusu, touched on some challenges during the time of service.
The challenges continued as somebody said, you will be in the office, or you are at home, you announce that you have been sacked. There's a challenge. People, professionals were not allowed to do their job. They brought in others whom the governments of those days thought they were good enough to run broadcasting.
The Director General of the Corporation, Dr. Kwame Ekufu-Anof Into, acknowledged the contribution of the past broadcasters to the corporation. He assured the past broadcasters of the corporation's readiness to tap into their expertise to enable GBC to come out with programs that would help in the nation's development.
What I can assure you is that we are going to be relying on you more and more as a reliable constituency. Those of you who have the expertise to contribute in terms of offering training, look forward to hearing from us. We are going to be knocking at your door. I'm already in talks with some of you. And so for me and on behalf of management, I can say that we are going to be interacting with you more closely.
He promised to do anything within his power to address the challenges facing the old broadcasters.
Okay, ready? Yes.
Ridomil Gold, mixing and dosing. Using Ridomil Gold between May and August will protect your cocoa farm from black pod and other diseases so that you can get a good harvest. Before you use Ridomil Gold, wear your protective clothing. Overalls, Wellington boots, hat, gloves, and nose mask. Half fill your Matabi knapsack sprayer with water. Add 100 gram sachet of Ridomil Gold. Then add more water until the tank is completely full. Close the lid and shake well to mix the Ridomil Gold properly. Remember, you should use 100 gram sachet of Ridomil Gold per tankful of water and 600 gram sachet of Ridomil Gold for every acre of cocoa farm.
Thank you very much for joining me. See you same time tomorrow. Good. That's all in this package. Thanks so much for joining us. News tonight is at 10. Have a good evening.